The monsters are coming out. The monsters are coming out.
You're listening to Rod and Style Radio, the latest podcast brought to you by rodandstyle.com, which is where you can find links for merch, videos from our YouTube channel, along with stories and tech talk from some of the greatest folks in the culture. So grab the wheel, it's about to get wild. You've tuned in to Rod and Style.
Three, two, one.
Awesome. Well, folks, welcome to another episode of Rod and Style Radio with your favorite custom couple and our favorite, one of our favorites, Piero De Luca. Y'all probably know him from all of Mad Fabricators Society. Man, we're going way back, and I'm really digging everything you've been putting out from the old Mad Fabricators lately, because that's a big piece of why I'm in the culture. So welcome to the show, man.
Well, thanks Lane and Sama, for having me. Always a pleasure to rap with you guys. But yeah, we're going way back, man. It shows my age, which is kind of crazy, but yeah, man, you know, we're next year will be 20 years. So yeah, I'm kind of just blown away of all the support that I've always had, and crazy ups and downs, and you know, all that stuff with producing your own content, even before it was cool.
I mean, we're talking about like the heydays of Jalopy Journal and the Ham, and
yeah,
you know, and just you know, some of the raddest DVDs you put out. I swear, man, like it's just really cool how you have stayed, you know, relevant in all of it and doing this for 20 years. Like, we've all seen the ups and downs of, you know, hot rodding and, you know, custom culture and the fads that come in and out. And, you know, you have just put out some of the coolest things and kept doing it. And, you know, you were a big inspiration to me when I was trying to do a brand, when I was putting out content. And I remember, you know, being able to message you, hey, how do you do this? And you were nothing but help, man. I mean, it was just awesome to, you know, to have that. So again, thank you, man. So let's get into it.
Yeah,
We can give the folks a little bit of a background on it in case they, you know, were living under a rock for the last 20 years. How did you get started with Mad Fabricators?
Long story, but I'll try to make it quick. Yeah. There's a lot of branches to that tree, how it started. You know, I had a love for music, so I was in a band, and I did a lot of, you know, producing all the band art and flyers and all that stuff. So I did that for a bunch of years, and then I wanted to become a recording engineer and do audio recording and record bands, and I ended up getting a job at a post-production house, actually, of all places. And my brother worked there, and he was like, hey man, you know, you should come work in the shipping department. And, you know, we do a lot of production for a lot of Hollywood commercials and music videos and stuff. And you should come in and get entry level, and video and film pays way better than audio. That's for sure. Cause I'm working on a 3-minute commercial, and they're spending $10 million on it. So you should come work here.
Oh my God.
So I went there. Yeah, it was crazy. So I went there, worked in Hollywood at this place, and met a lot of people. Worked in the shipping department. Then we had like a duplication room where we'd make masters and copies, and worked my way into there. And then eventually I worked my way up to head editor within like 6 years. So I was doing a lot of editing in Hollywood, just mostly commercials and some little things here and there. But a guy would come in, and he'd always want to get like 500 videos made. And we were kind of a small place, and he would come in like a BMW, and I started watching these videos, and I'm like, man, this guy just makes skate videos. This is pretty cool. Like, all he does is rolls up in his BMW, orders several $1,000s worth of videos, and then does whatever with them. I'm like, that's kind of neat. And then I started thinking, I'm in the hot rod scene. You know, at that time was the early, you know, pretty early. We're talking 2000, and when I started, it was like 2001 and 2. So I was in the car club back then, and was in the scene. I kind of just grabbed my camera, actually borrowed my dad's camera, like whatever I can get, And right around then is when like the Dogtown Z-Boys movie came out. And I was always a fan of like Bruce Brown and On Any Sunday and, Endless Summer and those type of movies. It always had this like cool look and a like bitchin' storytelling. And all the videos in those days were just a bunch of old guys walking around car shows holding a microphone and just talking to people about their 57 Chevy and all that stuff. So, so I kind of come from that DIY world of being in a band and producing my own stuff. And around that time, DVD was just barely making it into the market where we were producing DVD masters and they would be like $700 because it wasn't like you just pop it in your Mac and and burn a disc. It was like patch cables and compression machines and input and outputs and all this craziness, big racks of machines to make a DVD. So I was at that point on the cusp of that, whatever that word is, as it was transitioning from like that VHS world to DVD world. And I had a direct connection with all the manufacturers of the actual discs and the cases. And these people would do big replications of 10,000, 100,000 DVDs. So I started talking to them because I'd call them almost weekly, to order stuff. And one day I was like, hey, so how much is it to make like 1,000 DVDs, And she's like, oh, I don't know. It's like, I don't even remember what it was. I think it was a couple bucks, with artwork and everything. And I was like, wait a second, really? And at that time I was kind of wanting to transition out of that job. And I was having it out with my bosses and getting underpaid and all this stuff. But I had all the gear. I still had like a Mac. And I figured like, if I could get out of this place and just kind of freelance stuff, I'll figure it out. But then I started doing the math and I was like, if I sell like, I don't know, it was like 30 DVDs a month, I would be doubling what I made at this job. So I was like, I think I could probably sell. I mean, it might have been more. It might have been like 50 or something. I was like, I think I might be able to sell 50. That's when the ham was fresh,
Yeah.
So in the meantime, I kind of started filming and editing, and I was pissed off one day and I was driving home, and I used to always bring the little pages with me, like to read at lunch, all the old magazines and stuff. And I looked down at it one day driving home from work, and I was like, man, that looks like kind of the size of a DVD cover. And then I was like, oh, like that's cool. I'll make them look like little magazine covers almost. So if you look at like the cover work, they're actual magazine covers that I photoshopped everything out and put everything back in. So I like took the layout, and just kind of, again, DIY punk rock, just cut and paste shit, so I made them all look like little pages because that was such my inspiration and everybody's hot rodding inspiration is those little magazines. And so then the concept kind of was like, okay, well, I'll just go out and film stuff, and then this is just my friends. And then I, through the ham, I met Bob Bleed, and that's a whole nother story because that relationship still is strong today. But then I always I felt like once I had all these people filmed, had this look, I actually wanted to make it look more like film than, a Super 8 film or just a regular high 8 camera. So I was able to, being in this little Hollywood, I'd be able to get like film slop pieces from videos that like the end of the reel, just be like just slop, like grain. And I was able to put that on top of things. This is before you could just click a filter for like film look. So I had to create my own film look almost. And it would take hours to render. I would bring a hard drive from home and render it at work because we had the fast computers, like it'd be like 3 minutes of video. 3 minutes of video would be like 17 hours, It'd be like, boy.
You'd be looking over your desk, like, okay, nobody's looking.
yeah, totally. I would just like plug it in the back, just hit render and just keep working. So, but I said after I got the list of people that I kind of wanted, I just started shooting out on the weekends and stuff, and it took about a year. I needed a big name on the cover, and one day I ran into, it was at the Anti-Blessing, one of those Anti-Blessing shows. I ran into George Barris and his son, and I started talking to him, and I was like, hey, would you mind being on this? And Brad Masterson was right there next to Brett, and we all kind of met at that moment. I was like, yeah, it's like a skate video thing, and they were like, okay, cool. So I was able to get George on it, which was like pretty cool, you know, for the first one. And then it just snowballed from there. I was able to quit my job and kind of took the risk, took the leap, and everybody loved it. And all I've been doing since is just just filming the shit I love, you know. And if I like it, I'm pretty sure people like it too, I guess. So yeah, that's kind of how it began. And then yeah, I've been very fortunate, you know, to meet some great people and be able to travel all over the world and do what I do.
Hell yeah. How many DVDs did you end up putting out?
I gotta count. So there's 1 through 7 that are actual physical DVDs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did Desperate Generation. I did Car That My Brain Won.
Absolutely love that one.
Thanks. And then I did the photography of George Barris, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was a monster shirt painter. I was a teenage monster shirt painter. And I think that's it. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? 11 or 12 or something like that.
I was going to say one of them was completely dedicated to Livewire.
Oh, yeah, you're right. 12.
Oh yeah, no, I went on a hunt for the first 4 Mad Fabricators. It was the hardest thing in the world to find all of them, but I did. I was very happy.
Congratulations. I don't even think I have a full set.
That's what he was telling me.
Yeah, I had to borrow volume 2 from my brother because I didn't have you know, I just got, I mean, you got to understand, it was like I would make 10, you know, I'd get 10 boxes at one time, you know. So like if I did volume 1, which I sold, I don't even know how many I sold, probably up into like to the 50,000-60,000 maybe, like
wow.
on my own.
Oh my
So I just kept reproducing. I kept doing thousands, you know, like I'll do another 1,000, do another 1,000, I'll do another 1,000. And no, it probably wasn't that much. I would say probably like 30. I would say at least 30,000 of those easily.
Still, that's wild.
And yeah. And then volume 2 came out, and then volume 3, and then so I have like stacks of volume 1, stacks of volume 2. Like it just kept growing. So I'd constantly have all these DVDs around me, and boxes and shipping and everything. So it was quite crazy, man. Because I did it all, you know. So I did it all. I did all the shipping. I did everything. So it just got to be to a point where that stuff was still hanging around. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like it wasn't going anywhere. It's like, boy, I wish I could sell a DVD for $3, you know?
No, I found when he told me, because I think he told me you had them at one point, right?
I had all of them.
So he had all of them, and then within the moves, he lost them, and he's like, I really want them, and I can't. He's like, I've been looking for them for years, and I was like, bet, give me like a week, and I can find all of them. And I did. I found the first 4, which were the ones he really wanted. And I tell you, I honestly didn't know if I was going to get them or not, because there was one that was like a car page, but now he sold plants, and he had it randomly, and he was like, yeah, I'll send it to you. And I'm like, all right, I hope I get the DVD. I don't know what this is. And then one came from Australia, and I got that one.
Really?
So yeah, like it was not easy, but I did find them, and I was like, yes, I won.
Well, thanks for supporting everybody else's.
And
winning,
they're
I
not
guess.
open. And then no, but the cool thing I like about it is they're not open.
Yeah, sealed.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're sealed.
Oh, that's it. And have you opened them yet since? Or?
Nope. I will watch them.
Oh, damn.
I will watch them on YouTube. I am not opening them.
Okay, good.
No.
Yeah, you know, I often get a request of like, you should just make DVDs again. And to everybody there in Kustom land, it's not that simple anymore. And as we all know, the technology has gotten so much better as far as cameras and everything going, and that's still a standard definition form. For me to make a DVD again, it would be mastering and artwork and shipping and production costs and getting them made. So I apologize, but you can see them free on Tubi.com. So
yeah, right when she was getting all of these for me, that's when I had talked to you, and you were like, you can watch it on Tubi, and I was like, perfect, because I can do that and leave these sealed and have them on the shelf, you know, just as a keepsake, and then be able to just go back and watch the content from Tubi. So that works perfect.
I might have to buy them off you someday.
It'll cost you.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I might have to be in one.
I'll go make my own. I will go make my own. That's fine.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, in the heyday of when everybody started streaming, you jumped on board with that, and you had several things come out on Amazon, didn't you?
Yeah, there was a couple things we did. So the death of DVD arrived, as we all know, and I was really excited about that because I was always trying to stay one step ahead. The whole thing was always trying to stay one step ahead. Even when I first started, everybody was still on VHS, and I was one step ahead with DVDs. So this time around, I decided to, I think my first thing I did is I built my own website, and I put that's when like Vimeo Online came out. You could like rent Vimeo movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool because now I'm renting them, all around the world. Perfect. And then that started not doing so well because I don't know what reason. But then I had this idea with a friend of mine about starting our own sort of Netflix concept. And this is when Netflix was kind of fresh. And we called it Motornation. And basically what had happened was all my friends like Brian Darwez and the Hot Rod Havocs and all these friends of mine, after I kind of started doing stuff, those guys started producing stuff, and a lot of other people started producing stuff. So there was this whole like network of people producing this rad content, and selling DVDs. So all of a sudden now you got these guys in Texas are making DVDs. It's sort of how it happened on YouTube as well, but prior to YouTube. So then I was like, well, that'd be cool that we could have this one place where all this stuff is, and my friend Dan, who was my partner, he did a lot of great documentary, motorcycle documentaries. He had this thing called Meditation for Madmen, and it was awesome, like so well filmed. And he's the one who actually, thanks to him, I have a better perspective on filming stuff. Like all this stuff post Motornation is thanks to him, because he's given me like, you should use this lens, or you should use this thing, like step your game up, bro. And I'm like, oh, like get microphones? You mean like mic people and stuff? Like, yeah, he's like, so I learned a lot from him. So it was pretty cool. And we ran that for 4 years, and it was a subscription based thing. And we got out before Motor Trend like came out, like I think 3 or 4 months after we did. So we had this jump on like this whole automotive specialty website. And it was cool. I mean, hot rodders are tight with their money, which I get because I am too when it comes to like spending money on subscriptions and stuff. So we hope for more people subscribing. We also hope that we'd get more people to subscribe in order to pay our content providers or producers some money to be able to go and film stuff and bring more content in, but it just never happened. I ended up producing most of the content on there, so it was me and Dan basically producing all our own stuff. So we kind of shut it down, and then that allowed me to go back to Mad Fabricators. And yeah, then after that I started putting stuff on Amazon, which was rad, because at that time Amazon was like, oh, you're an independent film guy, cool, come on aboard, we'll put you on Amazon Prime, and you could start selling your stuff and monetizing it. We don't care about copyright songs, just put it all up there. So, and what I mean by copyright songs is my friends lent me songs years before, and now they're copyright through, whatever brand they're on, and I get copyright even though I have permission. So that's why you don't see that stuff on YouTube, because as soon as I put it on there, I get hit with copyrights. So I put everything on Amazon, and it did well. And then all of a sudden Amazon decided that they have enough eyeballs on their video platform now that we're going to kick the little guys off, and they put us down to rental and purchasing now. So, which kind of sucks, but it was okay. It was okay for streaming, and then I got offered a little distribution thing with Tubi and a couple other company, a guy that gets me out into like Thailand and other places, which is cool. So, but then a couple months before COVID hit, I actually had been working on my YouTube channel. I was like, I should focus on this, and kind of cleaned up all the stuff and all this copyright infringements and things I had. And I just started a whole brand new channel. I went in and re-edited a bunch of stuff and re-released it. And then literally like right before I launched, we got locked down. So it was actually kind of perfect, because I ended up putting up 70 or something videos during coronavirus lockdown and gave people something to watch. So, it actually worked out.
We definitely had quite a bit to watch during all of that, because we couldn't go anywhere or do anything other than go to work.
Yeah.
But, getting to watch the whole series on the car that ate my brain was really entertaining. I love what you
the current one?
What's that?
The current one?
I think that was the first series that you had done on YouTube. Probably that you had done I guess right at the shutdown. I remember we were watching that.
Yeah, that's that one is about my car Cutie Pie that I am currently cloning.
Yeah.
So I guess we could talk about that. So the YouTube channel started off again with getting a bunch of content that I just had sitting on hard drives, and being at home like everybody else. I mean, I've been on lockdown for like 10 years because I just sit at home and edit all day pretty much. So it wasn't real. Aside from avoiding like viruses and whatever was out there, I'm at home anyways, and both my wife and I are kind of introverts. So it's a great gig. But during that time, I got all the older stuff out, and then Bonneville started happening with Lucky, and we started building the race car, which was the first thing we put up on the YouTube. And I created this concept or this series called Storm in Bonneville because we got rained out the first year, and this big torrential storm came through as we were driving up with the race car. But it's a great story about Lucky Burton's race car that he's had for several years, and a year before we left on that journey, he decided to finish the car and get it all done and go racing. So we documented that whole series of building this crazy race car and its journey, and we're actually continuing the saga. We're continuing the saga in August to keep filming the series. It's kind of an ongoing series because we're trying to break a record, and last year we blew a head gasket, so we didn't really film much because it was like right off the bat we blew a head gasket, so it was just like nothing really exciting to film.
Oh, that's terrible luck.
Yeah, it's terrible. And then the year before that, we just had been having problems with his engine and just mechanical stuff, so we haven't done very well. So we're hoping that this year he's got the motor out at H&H right now getting rebuilt. Hopefully we'll put a seal on that one and at least get close to a record or fast. Go fast somehow or another. And then kind of in between that, I scored a T body from Lucky, a Model T body, roadster body, sort of a roadster body. And I didn't really want to build cars after my coupe for a while. I was kind of over the whole, rust and building and spending money and all that stuff and long nights. But Lucky actually had this T body, and he said, I just don't want this thing anymore. I'm going to give it to you, and if not, if you don't take it, I'm kicking you out of the club. So I'm like, fine, I'll take it. I'll put it in my backyard and I'll stare at it once in a while. And hot rodders, how we are. It's like as soon as it was in my garage, and I'm like, well, if I could I think I could get some wheels for this thing in a few weeks, and maybe I could do this. And then I'm photoshopping shit and it just starts immediately as soon as it showed up. And I was like, damn it, I didn't want to get into this at all. So another one of my gigs is working at Galpin Auto Sports, and they have a great collection of cars, a lot of Ed Roth cars and everything. And Tweety Pie is actually there. And I've loved that car forever since I saw it in Detroit. I think it was Detroit 2005. They had a big thing at the Autorama, and it was there, and kind of fell in love with it there. And then it showed up right down the street. I can go see it all the time. So every time I go see it, I climb in it and I sit in it and I make vroom vroom noises. And then I was like, this thing is so rad. And it's deceiving because it's a tea bucket. You think a tiny little tea bucket, but it's so roomy, Bob Johnson, the original builder, was 6'4", and then Ed Roth owned it. He was 6 whatever. He was a giant guy, and I'm kind of a tall dude too, so I sit in it all the time, and it feels like, sitting on a couch. So anyways, long story short, I'm looking at this T-body, and I'm like, I'm gonna make a Tweety Pie, something short and funny looking. And then I go to Bobby Walden's, and I walk around the back, and there's a set of 32 Ford rails sitting in the back, and I was like, man, that's what that has. That's what Tweety Pie has. I mean, it's kind of what it has. And they're lobbed off exactly like where it was lobbed off on Tweety Pie too. So I went back in, and Bobby was just like, oh, somebody gave me those, just take them. I don't care. Just
oh
do
my
whatever you
God.
want with them. I was just gonna say, I don't care. So I'm like, and then like light bulb kicks on, documentary guy kicks on, camera guy kicks on. It's just like, all right, so I could film this, and then I could go to Galpin and take measurements and film that, and then I could interview this guy, and then hey, what version am I going to do? There's like 10 different versions. Which one will I pick? So it's like, it literally started eating my brain. That stupid hot rod drug, man. I tell you, it's like, that's what gets you. And now, like, that's all I can think about. And it's been almost 3 years now since I started that. And it's been so on and off with the race car and everything and work. I got to pay the bills and all that stuff. But so I created this series called Car That Ate My Brain, which was derivative of the first movie, which was Von Franco cloning the Kooky car.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, the Kooky car and the Tweety Pie are very broed out. Those two are bros. They're big time bros. Tweety Pie was actually supposed to be the Kooky car originally in the 77 Sunset Strip movies. It was a signed contract, ready to go, and Bob Johnson didn't want the actors driving it, so it went to Norm Grabowski, and that became the Kooky car. So there's all these ties with it. They used to show together all the time, so I was just like, man, I gotta call it Car That Ate My Brain 2, which it worked perfectly. So I'm actually cloning the Bob Johnson version, which is the version before Ed Roth bought the car, and it's a way tamer version. It's got more paint and more polished aluminum than chrome and things like that. So I'm excited, and it's cranking along. I'm hoping to get it done this year for sure. So one of many projects.
And that is too wild, man.
Yeah,
Sam,
I'm amazed no one's cloned it. It's one of those cars that everybody loves, but never been cloned. So
Sam got to sit in a not a clone. Chris doesn't like it to be called a clone. It's a tribute car of the Kooky, and she loves it. Like, Dean took her for a ride around the block, and like, of course, that kid smiles from ear to ear just talking to him. So
there's like a picture. I took the GoPro, and we went like literally just up and down the street. We didn't go like anywhere the cars, and I swear they were looking at us like, damn, are they ever gonna stop? Because they keep going back and forth. It was just so much fun. I love them. They're such a great car.
Yeah, I love Chris's car. I actually knew the previous owner too. We always would be in contact as soon as that guy got it. And then I saw Chris got it. I was like, oh man, that's gonna be out. My plan is to bring it to the roundup, so next year. So it's definitely, those two would be cool together. Yeah, they're just fun. I mean, and I can't wait to just putt around in it. It's tiny. It's so hard to explain in person, but like, you see that chassis, and it's like just bigger than a go-kart, just smaller than a hot rod. It's kind of like, it's just not in the right place,
Oh yeah, no, that's what our friend Chris said. He's like, this was probably not the most responsible choice, but I wanted it. He's like, I wanted it just so I could say I have it.
Yeah.
I'm stoked on it. Did you make it to Roundup this year? Being the first year back on track, I guess you could say. We did not.
Yeah. No, I really wanted to, but it was a decision between going to Maui or going to the Roundup. So,
our decision was between New York and Roundup.
Yeah, that'd be pretty dope too. Yeah, no, but I love the Roundup. I don't emotion tied to that show with me, and friends and family members and friends that we lost, and a lot has gone on since our last time that we went. So I kind of didn't want to go without my car. A lot of our friends' cars weren't ready, and everybody just kind of wasn't ready at that moment. So, but next year it's like, yeah, for sure, it's going to be an awesome trip. So, I love everybody out there.
Yeah, we had a chance to go to New York, and it was like, okay, it's going to be the same weekend as Roundup, but oh well, we gotta make this happen. But one good thing about going to New York is we got to meet a friend of yours. He's been a friend of ours as well, Brian Darwis, and he took us out to dinner, and we got to sit with him and had a meal together. And knowing somebody online for years and then finally getting to meet in person was just awesome. So
I've actually never met him in person.
He's incredibly tall, and his wife is really small. It's kind of funny. She's she's a little bit shorter than me, but he stood up and we were sitting down. I was like, holy shit, he's really tall. And then like when he did stand up, he almost hit the ceiling. I was like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting someone that tall.
It's pretty funny because, well, I'm probably the same as my wife, because I'm like 6'2.5". I'm not that tall. I know he's like 6'4", so he's pretty tall up there. But it's weird. Him and I have always had this like weird parallel lives. Like he's like the East Coast and I'm the West Coast, and like he's played in bands and plays bass. Like same here, kind of like this weird. I guess now he's tall and has a short wife. We make films about cars. It was like this weird. It's a weird parallel life that we live in. It's just awesome. He's a super talented dude. I hope someday he can get back into doing some hot rod stuff because, he was super talented. He's always had great stuff, but we want some more, Brian. Do it.
Right.
Grab your iPhone, baby, because that's where we're at these days.
So
grab a gimbal and an iPhone and you're ready to rock, baby.
Folks, we are going to take a quick break here, just 1 second, and then we will be back online with Piero De Luca. If you don't want to miss an episode of the Custom Couple Live, go to YouTube and subscribe. Rod and Style TV, that's where you'll find us. And as we always say, in all things custom, keep it cool. Hey everyone, if you're digging this episode, be sure to go check out all of our archived episodes. Now you can find the Custom Couple podcast and all of Rod and Style's podcast all on the same channel, Rod and Style Radio, brought to you by the wonderful folks at rodandstyle.com, where you can find all the badass merchandise, all the best content, and of course, us. So, we'll see you there. Keep it cool.
Recording in progress.
What's going on, everybody? In the first half of this episode, we were talking a little bit about how you got your start with creating the Mad Fabricators Society and all the DVDs, and then going into the streaming. And now let's jump into the post-shutdown, the new world that we live in now. What are you doing now in the whole world of hot rodding now, post-COVID?
Well, it's not really a change for me because as far as the hot rod stuff goes, I was kind of just doing the car that ate my brain and Lucky's race car. And a lot of the stuff that I had posted was prior to that, when I filmed, a year before that. Like I'd go to Wisconsin and I'd film a bunch of stuff, and then I hadn't anywhere to put it out. So it was a lot of catch up, which was great. And then we just started working on my car. So that's kind of all I've been doing as far as the hot rod world is. I've been doing stuff, like I said, for Galpin, and I did some stuff for the American Hot Rod Foundation and side gigs, because I'm a hired producer. So I work for all different companies. We just, Lucky Burton, he's one of my great friends as well. The car is at his shop right now, and it came back to my house, and I during COVID, I kind of filmed everything at my house that I could do. He got it to a point where it was rolling and everything. I'm not a hot rod, custom fabricator where I could do everything, but I could do a lot of little things. I could weld bolts and, sand things and make brackets and stuff like that. So I just kind of did that the whole time. And then that's when I was kind of producing the series. And so now I want to reflect on that a little bit. I want to thank some people like my friend Lucky and Harrison, and just a bunch of people that that helped out with parts and stuff. That's kind of the cool thing about this whole series is it isn't just me building my car in my garage. I actually go to people's shops and get these cool parts from them that they're donating or have sold me at times, you know? So it's kind of like this adventure of scavenging parts for it and building and going to cool shops and talking to cool people. I interviewed Bob Johnson's stepson, who's the original builder of the car at Galpin. You know, I've been to just Mark Skipper's house, and, you know, Hollywood Hot Rods gave me a transmission, and, you know, I'm at all these great shops that are all my friends that have been friends with me for years. So it kind of makes it more than a build video. It's more like an adventure video with some cool building stuff in between. So that's what I've been working on. I filmed some, I went out to Wisconsin. I also do work with Bailey Industrial. That's my kind of my day job for now. And they sent me out to Wisconsin, and I was able to spend 4 days with Bob Bleed. So I did recently just put out, about a week ago, I put out a update with Bob Bleed. He had some cool stuff laying around, and we went and visited Bass Cycles, who has a great collection. And it was cool. It had a good old Mad Fabricators vibe to it. And he actually tells in the beginning, he actually tells the story of how we met for the first time through the ham and all this stuff. So it's a pretty cool little story that he tells. And I threw some old video footage of Mad Fabricators in there to kind of tie the story together. So that's been pretty cool. And I got a lot of great responses with that. It did really great on my YouTube channel. And so I'm just kind of, you know, filming the car being built. Like I said, we're going to Bonneville. And I'm trying to produce what I can. It's hard enough just to get those two done. Like the car that in my brain is kind of been on hold because I got overworked with work. So, you know, I got to pay my bills first. And
oh, trust me, we know how that goes.
Yeah, right. So, but the good thing is I just hit 10,000 subscribers last week, which is kind of a big deal.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy thing because I was researching and they were saying, you know, like part-time YouTubers, it takes them about 5 years to get to 10,000, and I did it in like maybe 2, like just under 2 maybe. So it's pretty great, and I have great people that follow me and support me, which is awesome. So if I can get it up to that 100,000, or where I could, you know, get myself a green Lambo like all the teenagers have.
Right.
I don't know why a bunch of 16-year-olds have green Lambos, but apparently YouTube must give you those when you
right. That's the YouTube car, like how in Mary Kay where you get the giant pink car.
The pink Cadillac.
Right,
exactly.
right.
There you go. Yep. That's YouTube.
So shooting for the green Lambo, people. Come on, let's do it.
There was probably just a sale on them. I mean, it's not too wild.
They're like, here's your discount code.
Yeah, we can't sell these neon green Lambos. So yeah, no, the plan is to build the YouTube channel up where I can go back to my old ways of just going and hopping on a plane and going to a cool show and filming this guy and getting Bob Lead filmed on stuff. You know, there's so much production that could be had if I had the revenue for it. So for now, it's just DIY, right back to it, you know. It's the punk rock life in me. Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, and the cool thing about YouTube, at least, you know, from my perspective on it, is that I don't think that there's like a whole bunch of fake accounts on there where you can just go buy a bunch of subscribers like how you do on, you know, folks do on Instagram and Facebook. And it's like, yeah, I can pay so much and get, you know, more content out, but it doesn't seem like that's the case with YouTube. So if you're hitting 10,000, that's actually 10,000 people that, you know, really dig what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And that's really cool, man.
Yeah, it's hard earned. It really is. And, you know, a lot of people go into it like, I mean, they go into it just thinking, oh, I'm just going to start a YouTube channel in my garage and I'm going to just do stuff. And don't get me wrong, there's a couple, you know, several great hot rod garage kind of build series. But yeah, the reality is like after like month 6, when you're getting, you know, 10 subscribers,
right,
it kind of burns you out. And believe me, it took me a while. You know, you want to see those numbers happen faster, and they don't. sometimes. You know, they're just kind of idle. Like I'll put something out and I'll get a bunch of subscribers, and then just boom, nothing for like months. Like I won't get one subscriber, and it's feeding the beast. You just gotta keep feeding that beast, and that's the hard part.
Right, it's like the pot of spaghetti. You just grab the noodles and throw them at the wall and hope it sticks.
Yeah, like I seriously have no shortage of content, and I wish I had all the time in the world and maybe a few editors that I can get out a bunch of stuff. But right now it's just me and I'm just doing what I can. So it's cool.
Yeah, we definitely know the time constraints of trying to put out content, because some things that you do, it's you go and you film a bunch of things, and then you don't have all the time in the world to edit it down and do all that. But then if you don't get it done in a timely manner, it becomes irrelevant. It's like, who's gonna watch? I mean, other than if it's just B-roll, who's gonna watch a bunch of footage of Roundup 5 years ago?
Yeah, not unless it's cut to music and has some flash to it. That's kind of my worst enemy is my heart of making each one of my films as best as they can. And they're all formulaic. They all have an opening, they all have a middle, and they all have an ending. Right at the end of the day, but I can't for the life of me just put something out, just a bunch of footage out. Or not put any effort into it, because that's all I know. Fortunately, I'm fast enough where I can just like slice and dice, but to sit down in front of a computer, as you guys know, and look at just hours of footage and try to get creative and try to figure out where to cut and do this and color correct, and there's a lot that people don't see what I do.
Oh, absolutely.
I wish you guys could see my video timeline, what it looks like. It's not just a bunch of videos with a bunch of audio. It's like you can't even see what it is. It's just slice, because I just cut and chop and move and add music and colors, and it's just so much work. And I sometimes wish I could just put out just me in the garage with hit the play button and record button and just go, but I just can't do it. Which it reflects on my YouTube channel, because my video rating is like 99.3%, meaning that 99.3 of my viewers like my channel. They thumbs up the stuff, so there's not a lot of thumbs down. And that's why I keep getting boosted up in the requested videos, and that kind of stuff, because they like to see that the channel's doing good and you got subscribers and you're putting out content, and they push that stuff way up. So Green Lambo, here we come. You don't get, what they say in the YouTube land, you don't get a Green Lambo if you're just letting the B-roll roll. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there you go. If they're not saying it, they're going to now.
That's right. Don't quote me.
But pay me if you do.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's a weird world we live in, and I literally I've been filming stuff with my phone. Like I took a big job recently, and I left $6,000 worth of gear at home because I grabbed my iPhone and a gimbal and a couple microphones, and it's like, oh, these kids don't know how good they have it.
Yeah, no, shout out to iPhone, because they could sponsor this podcast. It would be great.
Shout out to Apple and iPhone. Yeah. I've sold so many iPhones and iPads and iMacs for them. They owe me so much, because, and not only that, how much I should own stock in Apple. Let's just put it that way. Because I have like 2 iMacs, I got 4 phones. But yeah, anyways, hot rods. So yeah, those kick ass, and that's what I'm all about.
Oh, I love it. I love it. This has been absolutely amazing to be able to sit down with you and chat with you, because, I mean, really, you have been a huge inspiration to not only us, but a lot of people. I've talked with several of our listeners. We started this podcast, not intending for it to really just to blow up the way that it did. Mm-hmm. And, we have listeners that, message me constantly like, hey, I listened in, great episode, and I've become friends with them. I have talked with so many people that they were like, Mad Fabricators is what got me into all of this. So, thank you, man. Like, this is huge for us, and I know it's huge for a lot of the people that are listening in.
Oh, you're welcome, man. My pleasure. And I'm so proud of you guys, because it's cool to see that you guys, like, from when I saw you guys in Texas to now is awesome. Like, you guys have been, like, definitely working your butts off to get it going. And I'm watching. I see you.
Hey, we haven't had a bad review yet in the year, almost, awesome. A little over a year that we've been doing this, we haven't had one bad review, so that's kind of nice. I'm still waiting for that one, just in case. It's going to be
Matt defeating.
They'll come, believe me. Wait till you get onto YouTube. Boy, oh boy, man. They, I love you, all my viewers, but damn, you guys got a keen eye for everything, man. They'd be like, I saw that bearing, and that bearing that you're putting in that rear end is rusty. You can't use that. And we're just like, oh my God, like, how did you even see that? I had to go back and, like, look at it. I'm like, oh yeah, it is kind of rusty.
It's like, you didn't tighten it good enough. It's going to be loose. You got to go back and look at it.
Oh, everybody's a critic, and I try to be I'm a very peaceful and loving guy, and I try to not engage too much and just say, like, cool, yeah, right, you're cool, yeah, got it. So, but no, I appreciate it. It's like I said, I've got to meet so many great people doing this, and like it's pretty awesome that it's been my job. I mean, it's had, like I said, it's ups and downs, and there was times where, like, all of a sudden I was watching all my wholesalers that used to order 150 DVDs at a time just, like, kind of disappear in the wind, and the economy's tanking, and so a lot of people stuck by and still, like, support what I do. So but till I get that green Lambo.
We're gonna push for that green Lambo.
We're gonna get that green Lambo. But no, I have a funny story. My talking about influences and stuff, and having Mad Fabricators do that to you. A friend of mine, Jeff, he was a young kid. He built his first hot rod at like 17, and drove it to school on his last day of school, and it was really rad. And he just always was when I was building Livewire, he was always there. So he was like this little kid that kind of hung out. Then a few years later, he brought his little truck out, and we both drove to the Grand National in Livewire, and he was in his truck, and we were kind of like racing down Foothill Boulevard at night, and it was raining, and it was just badass. We were just having such a great time. And he would come stay with me, and we pulled our cars, and we're like, let's go get something to eat. And we were in a daily driver, and we're eating, and he goes, when I was 14, me and my friend used to ditch school, and all we did was go watch Mad Fabricators Volume 1. And he's like, and now I'm racing my hot rod up and down Foothill Boulevard. He's like, I would never have believed it. And I was just like, bro, that's crazy. You ditched school at 14 to go watch my shit. You've been in school. Like, damn it. But that is awesome. So, but, yeah. Hey, I put my pants on one leg at a time like you, but when my pants are on, I make hot rod DVDs.
Oh, I love it. Folks,
yeah.
You have heard it here on Rod and Style Radio that Piero does put his pants on one leg at a time.
One leg at a time. Actually, I should say, but when my pants on, I make hot rod content. I guess it would be it. I don't know. Whatever the fact is, but.
It's funny.
But yeah, so yeah.
Oh no, I was just saying, you had said earlier how people wanted you to put the DVDs back out, and we've talked with a bunch of people about that. It's like the physical, having something in your hand. A lot of us miss that aspect of it when everything went to streaming. Same thing with CDs, man. When I was a kid, I spent hours in music stores, looking for CDs and cassette tapes, and when everything went digital, it's a different feel. But I definitely enjoy the fact that you are still putting things out, even though we do miss the DVDs.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, they suck. Bottom line is they're just a piece of plastic, dude. They suck, man.
Yeah, I know.
Oh shit, it's my piece of plastic.
They were such a pain in the ass, believe me. Like I would ship like a box of 100 to Europe, and they'd be like, they all came out of the case, like inside the case, and they would all be scratched, and I'd have to so I've had a lot of heartache with DVDs. I was glad to see it die, believe me. But that being said, technology moves forward. Like I had to move forward with the technology. Like I can't be putting out high def stuff and spending all this money on a camera to put it on a quality that's just not there. Even Blu-ray was like $4 or $5 a disc, and that's like cutting in the profit big time. And then you think about the artwork and the printing and the cases and the shipping and this and the customer service and the PayPals and all that stuff. Like I did it for 12 years. So after 12 years, I was like, I don't want to go to car shows anymore. I want to like have fun. I want to go like just be with my friends. I don't, and then Digital World came out, and then boom, I uploaded it that night. The next day it's for sale. It's making money.
No,
so
yeah, it definitely has those perks, of course.
Yeah. But who knows, someday they'll find a cave that will have a box of loose DVDs in the cases in Europe somewhere, and someone threw them in the ocean because they were all broken. It's it's like saying, I don't know. It's like, that's cool that it all looks good, but I want it on 8-track. Like it just doesn't make sense anymore,
Yeah.
Of course,
it's just like the death of the format. So. So
everybody listening to it, no, you will not get a DVD. So if you have it, keep that shit. Don't get rid of it.
Yeah. Make it a collector's item so you could sell it in 20 years and buy a house or something.
Yeah,
buy me a green Lambo.
Maybe 2.
Maybe I find a box of DVDs in like 20 years and they're worth like an enormous amount of money, and I just sell them and buy my green Lambo. But so next year's 20 years, and I got some plans, some regurgitation of the old footage, some would say. Again, why my old stuff isn't really around is because of copyright music infringement, that I can't put it on YouTube, and there's no way for me to re-edit it all and do all that and put new music on it. It's just not my time, not conducive to my time. So I got a plan to revisit some old tapes, and that's about as much as I'm going to say because I don't want to promise anything. But we're gonna go back in time, and we'll see what we find. So it's going to be kind of a digging in the crates kind of thing, but digging in the tapes. Maybe that's what I'll call it.
I like that.
Digging in the tapes. So we'll see what I have. A lot of footage that's like, a lot of stuff that never been seen. Like I interviewed the Alexander brothers for like 4 hours. And they only got 20 minutes got on the video. So like, there's, I don't even know what's out there. I know there's footage of Bob doing crazy shit and the jackassery. Yeah.
No.
Yes. So. And then besides that, I'm just filming stuff, just keeping the car going. And I don't know where it's going to lead next year. After the race car is done and my car is done, we'll see what the next project is. Maybe by then I'll have the Lambo and I can just go film stuff. So
there you go. It's Mad Fabricators 9.7.
Yeah, I'll get the whole thing wrapped with all images of Mad Fabricators. But
that would be freaking wild for sure.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at, man. I'm just trying to make a living and trying to keep the hot rod dream alive, and looking forward to cruising my car, seeing you guys out. You guys are out in Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
South Texas.
Yeah. Oh, you're way over there.
Yeah, middle of the desert. But we're traveling and we're going out to shows and we're meeting people. So, hopefully somewhere down the line we'll head your way.
Yeah, you should. Pro National's always a fun one. That's always a good one to cover for you guys, probably. And
I think we're trying to do that next year, right?
Yeah. We're definitely trying to make Grand Nationals in 2023. There's a couple of shows that we didn't get to make this year that we've put on the list for next year, and that was definitely one of them. We interviewed a few people from it, some folks that won awards. Vic Galindo, he had best Kustom this year. We had him on the show. That that dude is rad. If you haven't gotten a chance to listen to his episode, that was a wonderful conversation that we had. But
Awesome.
we'll definitely make some trips out west. Come see you.
For sure.
in the either at the end of this year or beginning of next. That's the plan, at least.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, the plan is to have. Well, I'd love to take the car to the roundup, but the plan is to have a debut at Grand National, if I can. Because I mean, it's 15 minutes away from my house, so it'd be kind of dumb not to, unless time doesn't make it. But yeah, like I could literally like Uber over there. So that would be cool. But you guys should try Bonneville someday. That's a place that's I don't know if you've ever been, but that's otherworldly. Let's just say. It's
Yeah, we have found out that both of us burn really easily, so that would be a lot of sunscreen.
It is a lot of sunscreen, and I do too. But it's ironically not that, like, it doesn't feel like you're in the desert at all. Like it just feels nice. The weather's usually nice. The ground's not hot at all. It's not like the desert, And it's just one of those things. There's one thing being a hot rodder is like, cool, you get in your hot rod, blast down the road, you do some drag racing, but going out there and just being a spectator alone, man, it changes your perspective on hot rodding. And that's like, you see where men become men and that kind of deal. It's like, you look at those mountains and you see those photos from the 30s and 40s and you're like, man, this is where the shit goes down, like for real. And then being part of a race team with Lucky it's even crazier, pushing the car off and doing all that crazy, stuff in the pits and the stress and all that stuff, man. That's kind of like where you really become a hot rodder, some would say, maybe, even El Mirage is kind of the same, but there's so many different aspects of this culture we're in. You could be just into the music or in the fashion, or you could be into customs or whatever you're into. But that to me seems like, okay, all that stuff's great, but this is like the proving grounds kind of deal, So yeah. I highly suggest it to anybody, even just to go spectate for a day or two. It's incredible. I only just started going like when we took the car out. Because I always knew I'd want to build a race car, and thank God after helping Lucky build this race car, I'm not going to build a race car. It's too much money, too much stress, none of that stuff I got. So I'm a pretty mellow guy, and all that stress is too much. And plus I got into his little race car and claustrophobia kicked in, and nope, I'll stay with the Roadster. But yeah, I suggest Bonneville is always a great time, and yeah, that series was really great. We've had a lot of people it's crazy because my demographics, and I could never tell this selling DVDs, because usually I was selling DVDs to people my age. But now that there's analytics and everything, and my demographics, like 35% plus is like 65 plus. So my like literally my highest viewers are like, on the way out.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound morbid, but how do I?
You're like, well, shit, I don't know.
But I mean, what's gonna happen 10
Show
years
your
from now,
grandkids.
Yeah, exactly. But it's cool. So I'm trying to, I'd like to get the younger generation involved somehow. But so it's just, and that's the crowd that likes Bonneville. It's us 50 plus years old and 60 years old, and that's my demographic. So I don't know where I was going with that, except to make fun of.
I think you were looking for the surprise of the fact that they know what YouTube is. I mean, there's that.
Yeah, it's funny. Do you guys know who Matt Iron Trap Garage is? Do you ever watch his stuff on YouTube? Yep. Iron Trap Garage. Yeah. So Matt and I talk always, and I was sharing my demographics, and he was like, "Dude," he's like, "that's our biggest problem." He's like, his demographics are exactly the same as mine, and he's like, these old guys don't know what a subscribe button is. They don't know how to, like something or comment. They don't know that.
These are facts.
Especially if they're watching it on their TV, forget it. Like, I had to find it. I couldn't even figure it out, like, let alone some 75-year-old, so. But, yeah, so whatever. They're holding me back from my green Lambo, but it's cool.
You know what? The Kustom couple will need to put out a how-to video for folks to use YouTube. How about that? I think that'll
no
help
kidding.
out a lot of our friends that are putting out YouTube content. The Kustom couple will help y'all out and make YouTube videos on how to use YouTube.
Like, huh?
That's not a bad idea. You'll probably be able to get the green Lambo way better, way quicker than I would.
I'll get two and I'll let you drive one. How about that?
That's awesome. Kick ass. Sold. I'm going to make a big giant subscribe button out of wood and just hold it up and go like, you see this down here? See that? Click, push this down there. But
I love it.
It's weird, man, because I'm total behind the camera guy, and then like lately Lucky's been holding the camera because I want to get in front a little bit, but man, I don't know how people do that. I feel weird being I'm not good in front of the camera, so.
I have to say though, that was one of my favorite moments in Mad Fabricators was when Bob Bleed had the dummy and he named it Piero and he was like, "This is the first time he's in front of a camera," and then they drug it behind the truck. Oh, we were dying.
There's been several Piero dummies. There's one actually at Lucky's that he was actually he was bringing it. Long story, but he was bringing it to the roundup because I couldn't go, and he named it Cheerio, not Piero, but Cheerio, and it's like a half of one of those crash test dummies, but it has a face like a medical one. But he had some heart problems, so he had to turn around. But he was gonna drive that thing all around the roundup in his roadster with me in the passenger seat. So I have it now. We still have it, and we might do some fun stuff with it. But that's the things I kind of miss, or like. The Mad Fabricators days was our kind of chaotic. we've all grown up, unfortunately, but like, yeah, there's not a lot of donuts and blowing stuff up. I don't know. Bob's kind of grown. We're all kind of just gotten wiser and more mature. So weird, but I'm sure if I go out there and spend another week, I can get them to blow some stuff up.
I'm sure if you just turn the camera on, it'll work. It work its way out somehow.
Yeah,
but
it's funny with him because usually I just get a phone call and it's like, "Dude, you need to fly out here." That's usually his first word. Like, "You need to fly out here." Every Mad Fabricators episode is like, "Dude, you need to fly out here." And I'm like, "What now?" He's like, "Oh, I found this da 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 da. Fill in the blank." And I'd be on the plane like a week later. Let's do it. So.
Well, Piero, is there any folks that you'd like to give some shout outs to on our channel?
I always love giving shout outs. That's my favorite thing. I give out shout outs to my beautiful wife who's supported me throughout this whole thing. She's my love of my life, 24 years, celebrating soon. So she's been there since day one. And my other wife, Lucky Burton, my wife will laugh at that, but no, Lucky and Harrison and Bob Bleed, and I mean, the list goes on and on. I have so many great friends. I have a tight knit group of friends, but everybody's just so cool, and everybody's always support me. And I just thank everybody that subscribes and likes and comments and buys T-shirts and does all that fancy stuff because. I like to make a little side money to help build my car. And I'm trying to get the green Lambo. So, you're all helping out. But no, I appreciate the help over the years and the support. And it's been nothing but fun, man. I'm a very blessed person to be able to do what I do. And I love hot rods and I love everybody that's into it. So, yeah, shout out to you guys for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on. And folks, if you're listening to this on Apple, you can review it, rate it. Give us some thumbs up. We love that shit. If you're listening to us on Spotify, do the same thing. You can leave us a rating on there as well. And of course, remember, stay wild. If you enjoyed today's episode with Piero, be sure to go and follow him On Instagram, you can find him at mad_fabricators. You can also find all of his merchandise at monstersareout.com. And of course, subscribe to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/madfabricatorstv. Stay wild.